In 1942, 22-year-old Ernie Plantz and the crew of the USS Perch were trying to repair damage from an earlier battle when they were attacked by 3 destroyers and 2 cruisers.
First shell went over us, and the second one fell short of us, and the skipper had alerted us that we'd probably have to abandon ship. So he gave the order to abandon ship, so we opened the valves and the hatches to sink the submarine and floated off into the water. I guess it was probably if someone watching their home burn would probably have a similar feeling. Everything you have is gone. Somebody asked what the Japs, if they picked us up, what they would feed us. And somebody else says rice and fish. You'd have, well, what else do the Japanese eat? And I said, geez, if it's rice, I just hope it's rice and cream because I can't eat plain rice. 3 days later, when they got around to giving us the first rice, that was the best rice I ever ate in my life.
Plantz and the rest of the crew were taken to a Japanese prisoner of war camp on the Isle of Celebes.
So they offloaded us there and marched us through the city. Many of us were barefooted, we'd lost our shoes, and so the pavement was about a ½ degree off the equator. So the pavement was hot enough you could fry an egg on anything, and it fried our feet, and the skin just peeled off and blistered. It was pretty brutal. They never told you what the rules were, what you could do and what you couldn't do. The way you found out is when you did something they disagreed with, and they'd either slap you around or beat hell out of you with a club. A good example of it is when we first were there, some of the people, the prisoners that could play a musical instrument, they'd scrounge together some Dutch instruments and they organized a band. And we were having some good concerts on Sundays. And the Japs decided we weren't supposed to enjoy music. So they beat the devil out of the people who were playing music and the leader of the band. And one of our officers off the Pope goes charging down. He pointed a Jap around that was doing a beating. He says, these are my men. If you beat anyone, you beat me. So they proceeded to beat the heck out of him. It was the worst food they could possibly come up with. The rice was full of worms, and the fish that they gave us was full of maggots. And the cooks, when they cooked it, they cooked worms and all. They float out what they could, but they cooked the rice. And for the first few days when we got that kind of rice, we picked out the worm carcass. And you'd end up, you'd have a ½ cup of rice and a ½ cup of worm carcasses. So we decided, well, the worm carcasses were protein too, so we just ate them. If you violated the rules, they beat the hell out of you. The worst beatings I got was 43, late 43, and I got identified as one that had dealings with a native. So they beat the native Chinese merchant and then brought him into camp and lined us up, and he picked out 3 guys, and then Japs wanted 4. I was the 4th one. So they put us in the brig and threatened to chop our heads off, and they changed the watch every 3 hours instead of every 4. We were there for a week, and then I guess the last day, the breakfast was good breakfast, and all you could eat. Meat, which we never got, and lunch was the same way. And they had always told us that the day before they put you to death, they'd feed you all you wanted to eat. So by the time the evening meal came, which was the same thing, we were beginning to lose our appetite for fear of what was coming. About halfway through the meal, we heard a clatter outside the guardhouse, and there come a bunch of young Jap sailors charging on each swinging a club. So they took us out. We realized it wasn't going to be a head chop, it was going to be a beating. So they had the whole camp assembled at quarters out in the field and playgrounds. And they took us out in the middle, and they had a table that you grip with your hands, and then they'd make you lean against the table and knock your feet back. And then they proceeded to beat us one by one. And I got 75 blows on the butt with a baseball bat. The Japs called us together. I think it was the 11th that they called us together and told us that the war was over and that we had won, and they wanted to shake hands. These same guys had beat the heck out of you for 3.5 years. Said, now you're friends. You got to be kidding.
We got 2/3 of the way to Guam, and we got a message from James Forrestal, who was Secretary of War, that the war was over.
The war ended while I was on, in fact, I was right here in Groton when it ended, because I was home on 30-day leave. And that's where, and so we never went back out again.
Some of them did, I understand. Broke out some champagne or something like that, but no, we didn't. We just turned around and come back.
I loved submarine service. And if I didn't have, my father didn't have a business for me to come back to, I probably would have stayed in the Navy.
I was just a tiny cog in a, in a machine.
Submarine, we didn't figure ourselves as individuals. We were as a team. That whole ship was one team, and we all worked together.
I was just one man of many.
Nobody was a hero on them submarines.
I didn't, as far as I'm concerned, do anything that was heroic. I always felt what I was doing was of some importance.
I was just a kid. I had no real heroic things to report. We just did my job, and I was just there. And it was exciting, and it's something I'll never forget. It was an important part of my life, I know that. I have a picture in my office of the electrical crew taken at Pearl Harbor. There were nine of us standing on the after deck of the Flying Fish. I'm the only one still alive. The rest of them are gone.